Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel, and it's not a very big channel at this point just because I have one, and this would be the second video. The reason for that being I don't have access to a lot of good equipment, and I'm waiting for a friend who told me he could help me find some good, cheap equipment. I'm waiting for that to post more songs and stuff, and I'm just trying to experiment and develop good methods for recording songs and videos, so yeah. But I thought I'd do this one just because we're all under quarantine and need some entertainment, so let's get into it. This video I'll be going into really just writing song, like related stuff to that. So the first thing I wanted to go over is when you're writing a song, you need to know like the basic structure of a song. So most songs generally have a verse, a chorus, another verse, a bridge, and then another chorus. And then that's just like a basic example. There are a lot of variations. Like sometimes there's two verses, then a pre-chorus, then a chorus, but you get the idea. So when you're writing your own song, it really depends on how long you want the song to be and what the theme of the song is, like what you're writing about. So you need to take all of that into consideration when writing your own songs and writing out the structure. And yes, I'm using writing out hand gestures. Please make fun of me in the comments. I think I need a laugh right now because I'm bored. What's next on the list? Okay, chord progressions. So for those of you who know basically nothing about music, or maybe like you listen to a lot of music and stuff, but you don't know a lot about the music theory, or you don't know how to play it, but you know what it is. Basically, chord progressions are just like a progression of chords, really. You use them in all songs, really. Like a common example I could give in the key of G is E minor, C, G, D, and I don't have my piano right here, so I can't show you. But basically, it's just playing through different sounds and changing the chords to fit the melody that you're singing. So that's really important, and a lot of times you can kind of change up the chords, like make them more interesting, and sometimes, not always, but I like to throw in random chords that don't necessarily fit the key, but I feel like it sounds weird, but it does sound interesting, so I like to do that just to keep interest. Next, tips on how to write lyrics. So if you're like a beginner musician, or if you just like want to write songs, you generally come from one of two groups. One group is, and this might be the more populated group. This one group is they know nothing about music, or very little at least, and they just write lyrics, and they have like melodies and like entire songs in their head, but they don't know how to make them come out of their head and into a song. So that is definitely, I would recommend taking just like piano lessons or something, or if you want to try like learning on YouTube, you can. I mean, I don't recommend it personally because like you scroll for a long time trying to find one good video, and generally, even if one is helpful, it's just one. It doesn't focus on all the aspects that you need to know, and it's just not as helpful as it would be if you were taking lessons. And I mean, I don't. If you're trying to write like modern music, I don't recommend like taking piano lessons where all you do is learn like classical music. Like, I mean, that's cool and all, and it's very impressive for people who can play that. I'm not very good, but it's not. It doesn't exactly relate to what you're trying to do if you're trying to write your own music now and today. So yeah, and then the second group is the group that is they can write music incredibly well, and they know like all about music theory, all the stuff like rhythm. They can play multiple instruments and like get that all recorded and stuff. And but they have no idea how to write words. And by the way, if I was to lean, like if I was to classify myself as leaning one way or another, I'd say I'm better at words than music. Um, but I'm really just a beginner, both trying to figure it out and getting better at it. But for people who just do music and you want to learn how to write music, write lyrics, I would recommend just starting out writing like a little bit every day. Just getting a note. I would recommend a notebook because I mean, you can take notes on your phone, obviously, and if you want to do that, that's fine. Um, but I just personally feel like you will get better results if you're just writing things down like on a piece of paper. Just seems to click more with your brain, and yeah. But anyways, just take notes. Right, like if you want, you can study poetry. I don't really like poetry that much that I wouldn't like study it and study it and study it. But I did take like one poetry class, so that helped me learn how to rhyme. Rhyming is a big thing in writing song structures and just writing lyrics. Basically, I mean, not all songs have to rhyme. Like, don't get me wrong, you don't have to rhyme every single, like the ending of every line in every verse and every chorus and everything in your song. That's not what I'm saying. But it is good and it gives it a good consistency, and it's just cool if you can figure out like people think it's cool if you can figure out how to write good lyrics that rhyme a lot. So I think that, well, first I'll just give a couple basic examples of rhyme structure. So you'll hear some people say like A, B, which is basically just an example of line A, or line 1. So there's 4 lines. Line 1 rhymes with line 3, and line 2 rhymes with line 4. So, oh gosh, and now my brain's going blank. Thank you, I should have had this written out before, and that's my bad. The cat in the hat. Nope, never mind. We're not even gonna try. I'm not. I'm just gonna start spouting Dr. Seuss. This is not gonna be good. But yeah, you can look at different poems and stuff. Yeah, and then if you look later in the comments, I'll try to just type something out, and then you can look at that for different examples of the rhyme structures. And then there's A, B, B, where you rhyme the first 2 lines, and then the second 2 lines are a different rhyme. So like 1 rhymes with 2, and 3 rhymes with 4. So those are basically just 2 different sets of rhyming couplets that you put into a verse. And another question I would like to answer would be, how long do your verses or choruses, how long does the different parts of your song have to be? I don't think there's really a set limit or minimum. So I think for me, normally I try to write out four lines generally in each of my verses, and then chorus 8 lines normally, but it all depends on what your tempo is for your song. So if you're doing like a really slow song and your chorus is 8 lines, I mean, if it's really good, like you can make it like as long as you want, but sometimes it seems to drag out and people just lose interest, even if you have a really good chorus. So I would say if you have a slower beat, then you should stick with less lines. And I think a good idea to focus on when you do a slower song is to just try to express the mood of the song musically more, like just have like fancy little melodies or something on the piano if it's like a soft song. Yeah, that's really what I think about that. And another thing I wanted to cover is the one song I have on my YouTube channel is a worship song, and I'm trying to work on, I have a couple more in production, so once I get the recording equipment and figure out like what apps I'm going to use to get it all sounding good, because the first video I did, it was like not great quality. I mean, obviously this one isn't either, but like the song quality. I would like my songs to be a little bit clearer. But yeah, I think that so there's a difference between worship and Christian contemporary. So how I've heard worship music being described as is falling into three categories, generally speaking. The first category is Song of Psalms, which is like it has a lot of scriptural references to the Bible, and like it's just like basically like all of it is like a verse. A good example of that is "You Never Let Go." Yeah, that's just the example I'm giving right now. And then the second category is hymns. I don't listen to a ton of hymns anymore. I did when I was younger, but now I stick with more like modern, or I don't stick with, but I hear them more often. I hear modern worship songs, but I will try to look up some hymns for you. But in the meantime, I will say that I think they're basically just like the old classical songs that you see in hymnals, basically. Yeah, that really did not need to be that long and drawn out. All right, I'm struggling today. It's been a long week. Then the third category is songs of testimony, where you're singing, where your lyrics talk about some kind of trial you went through and how God pulled you through it. Yeah, it's kind of self-explanatory, but I tend to like those a lot. Like that's the category that I kind of relate to more. But I think if you're like going to be a worship artist, having a wide variety is something you should do. I mean, I have no idea how to write a hymn, or like what classifications it needs to meet to be considered a hymn. So, sorry, I'm lost in that one too. But yeah, so that's really the three categories of a worship song. And I mean, there might be like a couple worship songs that don't fit into any of those categories, and this kind of fits into like a miscellaneous. I'm not going to go into that because I don't know enough about it. But the difference between that worship songs and Christian contemporary. Now on to Christian contemporary is more of a, like, it's written by Christian artists and it might be talking about Christian values and stuff, but it doesn't really fit as a worship song. Like, you're not directly praising God or saying how he changed your life or something like that. It's just more of a, there can be songs that just have a Christian outlook on life. And yeah, I guess that's basically like the main difference. And then lastly, I wanted to just say to you guys that if you have any more questions about songwriting or music stuff, just leave them in the comments and I'll make a future video. I think that, also, if you have questions about how to distribute your music if you're like already to the point where you've recorded your own music and you're looking for a way to distribute it, I myself am looking into that right now, so I will definitely update you guys with a video on that, especially once I've recorded some of my own songs. So yeah, leave a comment, leave a like if you liked it. Obviously, if you didn't like it, then don't leave a like, because I know you're not supposed to say that on YouTube, but I'm just like, if you don't like it, that's fine. You know, it's no hard feelings. Just don't leave a dislike. Please, please. Very sensitive. If you want, you can subscribe if you want to see more videos. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Stay healthy, and yeah, hope you enjoyed. See ya.